Christmas is one of, I feel, the few times a year that everyone collectively has some sort of memory attached to it.
The feeling of the holidays and how it kind of has lessened over the years for us and seems to be a cultural shift as well. People our age are talking about how it used to feel so nostalgic and now it just feels different. I want to get into whether or not this is something everyone experiences when you get older, or if it's specific to this generation and technology kind of increasing and everyone growing up really fast.
Hey, homebodies! Welcome back to the Introvert City podcast, where we discuss culture, media, and faith from the perspective of the introvert's really fast-talking, complex mind. Sorry about that, guys. I'm Seth.
So fast. I'm Carina.
And we're back in the studio. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Yes. We've been really busy lately. Really busy. I was actually gone for like a couple weeks at a job that we were doing. I was home on the weekends, but like it wasn't that bad, but it definitely took up a lot of my time, and I had to do a lot of everything else on the weekend, so my time was pretty booked, and Carina on the other side of the studio was doing a lot of school stuff, a lot of schoolwork.
So many papers this semester, guys.
Give it up to her. Give it up to my co-host. She's so pretty.
When are we getting a soundboard to do like applause?
Bruh.
As our intro for today, before we get into our topic, I really need Seth to tell you guys how he got to the studio today.
All right, guys. So so the job site I was at today was really far away. It was like an hour and a half drive up, but it was like almost a 2-hour drive back because of the traffic. I wouldn't say where it was because you don't need to know where I be doing stuff.
You already told them where you work. Well, not where, but you said what you did.
But I don't need to go say where I went.
Okay.
But the point is that it took a long time to get back, and I was telling her that I was going to be back a little early probably from work, maybe even get it on time. But we didn't actually get back to the shop until probably like 15, 20 minutes after the shop was closed. So I was racing over here, and she called me, and I was really sorry. And I probably didn't actually have to do this, but I did it anyway. So I was thinking to myself, I was like, there's no I'm going to have enough time and we'll be able to get this in the studio and record an episode if I wait till I get there to get dressed. I was like, should I? So I was zooming down the highway, and I just thought, you know what? Let's just change while I'm on my drive. So I changed my socks, or I took off my socks. I took off my shoes, took off my socks. I put on a new pair of socks. I changed pants and shirts in the car while I was driving. And I kept the speed limit.
And you should be proud of yourself for that. But when you came here and told me, I was like, you could have just changed in the bathroom.
It wasn't that
deep. Yeah. But I guess you just had this aggressive male nature to do it the hard way.
But the problem, too, was that like I wanted to sit and enjoy my mod pizza. So I was like, do I come here and like waste time and then I only get to eat like 2 slices of my mod? Or do I change in the car and I get to eat my entire mod pizza now?
The pizzas are small, guys. Chill out.
Yeah. She had an entire pizza too.
Well, on that note, now that you're here and fully changed via highway.
You know what else is here?
The holidays. I was going to say that!
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Christmas time is here. Christmas time
Seth,
is here.
How are you feeling about the holidays this year? Because the topic we're going to dive into is nostalgia and emotion and the feeling of the holidays and how it kind of has lessened over the years for us and seems to be a cultural shift as well. People our age are talking about how it used to feel so nostalgic and now it just feels different. But we'll get into that. How are you feeling about the holidays this year?
Not feeling it. I used to feel so nostalgic, but now I just don't. I'm kidding.
I was like, are you serious?
No, it's just funny because like now I have to say that to our listeners or else we're frauds.
Did I spoil it? My bad.
No, it's okay.
My bad.
No, but I'm pretty excited this year. But for the past couple of years, I definitely have like waited for Christmas, then Christmas comes and then it's like over and then it's like, did I actually do anything? Was it actually that enjoyable? Was it all that I hyped it up to be? Because I feel like every year, and I feel like this is for most people and companies and corporations, it's the whole year, right? Maybe a sprinkle a little July 4th. And then as soon as like September ends, it's the holidays,
Right.
Like it is like Hallmark already be starting in October.
Yep.
Christmas music is already coming out in like late September. And so basically, and then once Halloween is over, it is Christmas time. And that's like kind of how I feel like the year is. The rest of the year is what it is. And then the holidays, it is the most wonderful time of the year. I definitely can see how, as I've gotten older, Christmas has just become less and less Santa Claus, presents, gifts, and more just family time. And sometimes Christmas feels like it's kind of lost its sting,
Yeah.
I never believed in Santa Claus.
Same. I was going to ask, yeah.
Biggest flex. But I did like, when I watched the Santa Claus movies, there was like a magical sensation to it.
Right.
There was something like, oh, this is so cool. And even though like whether or not you believe it's real in that moment. And you're like, oh, this is so magical. And, making cookies and putting Christmas presents under the trees, visiting family, having like the Yule log channel on TV play, and having your stockings up and everybody just watching the Christmas tree. I remember when I was a little kid, I used to wake up in the middle of the night when everyone else was asleep during like Christmas Eve, and I would just like sit in front of the Christmas tree, like at night. I just was like, this is lit. I don't know. This is sick. This is cool.
I have a question. I saw a short video the other day it was a point of view video, and it was POV guys when they go downstairs at 3 a.m. on Christmas, and it was like a guy in his PJs, and he just went to the tree in the middle of the night when everyone was sleeping, and he just stood and stared at it and like deep in thought. And I was like, is this something that guys do? Is that something guys do?
I mean, I guess.
I guess he was just alluding to like,
I'm not special anymore.
yeah, I guess he was alluding to growing up and like reflecting on the holidays and not feeling that childlike joy anymore. But I just thought it was funny. And I don't know that it's limited to guys. I feel like I do that a lot too, especially when it comes to trees and lights. All of that makes me very emotional. And now I just associate the holidays and seeing those lights and feeling that festive, spirit. It makes me sad because it brings me back to how easy things were, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And there's more sadness than there is joy when I am surrounded by Christmas stuff. Do you feel that way?
I do. And back to the topic of this episode, like Carina said, we are going to talk about just kind of how Christmas maybe feels like it's losing a sting as you get older, and maybe we'll even talk about how we cope with it, and maybe we still find joy in Christmas.
Yeah, no, it's not all sad.
Yeah, I do find joy, but I think relating back to what you were saying about guys standing there, it's a meme, but at the same time, there definitely is something to be said about that feeling, because I feel like Christmas, like I was saying, Christmas is a moment in time every single year, and with Christmas is one of, I feel, the few times a year that everyone collectively has some sort of memory attached to it, no matter what. Not everyone goes to Walmart or Target. Not everyone has your same birthday. But everyone either knows what Christmas is or has celebrated Christmas and understands what the holiday season, is and when it happens.
Or if they don't celebrate, like experience what it's like to have the culture be Christmassy.
Or they know what the people around them are feeling. So everyone has that same, can resonate to Christmas time. Everyone can resonate with that. And so I think it's just a time to reflect. Sitting in front of the Christmas tree or sitting outside while it's snowing or just sitting on your couch like in like November or December, watching the presents kind of rake in and thinking about, oh, well, we bought this and I did that and, we did all this type of stuff and thinking about how it has all happened and how your life has gone and how the holidays used to be, how the holidays were and how they are now and maybe your favorite memory from the holidays, stories about Christmas past or whatever.
Yeah.
For me, I think a lot back to like my young Christmases when I used to live in Cleveland. Cause like that to me, that was like prime time Christmas in my life. You know, getting big gifts. You know, my dad was the pastor at church, so church was always such a their Christmas time and church was a huge deal, and it just felt like really cool and really nice and nostalgic and memorable. You know, and going to school like the week before Christmas.
Yeah.
You guys probably see all those like the make the Yuletide gay from now on.
Yeah. That's a feeling that is absolutely unmatched that I will probably never feel again. Collectively, our generation will probably never feel again. And I want to, you can finish what you're saying, but I want to get into whether or not this is something everyone experiences when you get older, or if it's specific to this generation and technology kind of increasing and everyone growing up really fast.
No, yeah. I actually think that yes, I totally believe that. Okay, something so interesting is that if you remember in Inside Out 2,
Yeah.
they made a comment about nostalgia that I have thought about a lot. I thought about it a lot because they made a comment that like, oh, nostalgia, you're not supposed to be here for another 10, 20, 15 years. And to me, I was like, I have had so many nostalgic experiences before the age of 30. I'm only 21, and I feel so much nostalgia in my heart. Is it getting younger that people feel more nostalgia for things? Because you would say, you're too young to think about your younger days. But when I think about elementary school, yeah, sure, that was only like less than 10 years. Wow. Like 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago. At the same time, it still is a thing that almost feels like a fever dream because it happened over like a decade ago. Yeah. I graduated 6th grade in 2015.
That's insane.
It feels so long ago, but it really isn't.
Yeah. And that's so interesting that you thought that you caught that. First of all, in Inside Out 2, everything is intentional, and I love that. I've already seen it a bunch of times. But yeah, I wonder if we're supposed to be feeling nostalgic at this young. You know, it's kind of weird. I was taking a drive. This was actually last holiday season. But even last year, it felt the same. Like, and I'll get into for Halloween too, whether or not you celebrate it, whatever. The neighborhoods were dead. Like, you can observe that whether you celebrate Halloween or not. It was so sad. I feel like kids used to dress up and get so excited. Like, I remember when I moved here, my neighborhood was so alive. And this past year, I saw maybe like 2 families, 3 families, 4. Like, it was so quiet.
Abolish trunk or treat. Abolish it.
That's a hot take. Anyway, back to my story. Last holiday season, which was also very dry for both Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. I was taking a drive with a family friend who I had gone to church with, and I was driving around this girl who I used to kind of like babysit, mentor, whatever. We've known each other for so many years, and you know, she saw me kind of grow up, and I've been watching her grow up, and so we're like 6-7 years apart. She's younger than me, and she is on her phone while I'm driving, and she just looks up and goes, "Christmas is so sad this year," and I was like, yeah. And she's so much younger than me and is supposed to be feeling excited about it. And it just made me really sad to hear her say that. And I do think that people are growing up really, really fast. It makes me sad, and I'm not trying to be dramatic, but I do think that because our generation experienced life before phones and life after phones, that we are maybe the last to feel pure, like, joy when it comes to that sort of thing. Whereas with this generation that's growing up with phones, all they've known is technology and stuff. They're experiencing the holidays through their phones, and they're experiencing like those Christmas feelings through a screen. And it's not, are they having those authentic moments that you were talking about with family? Not saying that like you can't have an authentic experience while also being on technology. Of course you can, but there's something about celebrating the holidays without technology, without pressure to post anything or compare who got what present or whatever. Even with kids asking for presents, they don't ask for toys anymore. And that was always such a big part of Christmas, asking for toys and things to play with and build. And that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, I feel like kids are embarrassed probably because all of their friends are trying to grow up and trying to get phones. And this is another conversation, but girls too asking for beauty products that, and when they're like 10 years old, it's so sad.
Boys asking for creatine.
Oh my God. Collagen and protein powder. Get out of here.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, oh, man, when I was a kid, I loved playing with my toys. I loved playing with my toys. That was like one of my favorite things to do. And like realizing now, man, I used to love playing with my toys. And realizing now that it's like I'm too old to do that. And like I just don't want that anymore. It's like it makes me like almost hurt a little bit inside because it's a good thing that I'm growing up. But sometimes you're like, man, it'd be nice if just one day.
Right.
If I was 5 years old for like one day, you know? One more Christmas time where I was like 7. Ah.
And that's sad because, yeah, it's something you'll never get back. And sometimes I get scared of losing that feeling because every year you get less connected to it. You remember it, but it's less tangible as you get older.
And maybe do you think that the reason why our generation in particular is so fast-tracked to the nostalgic feeling of nostalgia is because our generation has everything we need here. And the one thing we can't get fast-tracked is our old memories and that time that we used to have. Because you can always find clips of a movie if you didn't see it in theaters. You can always find something online. You can find every type of thing. You can find anything you want on TikTok Shop, right? But you can't watch the Polar Express for the first time again. You can't, make cookies with your second grade teacher ever again.
Yeah.
You know? There are certain family members that have passed away that you remember seeing on Christmas. You know, that you'll never have those moments again. And that's why I personally think nostalgia is so strong with a generation because that's something it cannot be fabricated. Nostalgia, you can't force nostalgia,
Yeah, just
It's
comes.
like if you see something you didn't like when you're a kid, and you see it again, it won't bring up such a harsh nostalgia because you don't care. And you can't force it, if everyone else is talking about it. It's like how a lot of people didn't really like SpongeBob, and now SpongeBob is very popular. A lot of people don't have nostalgia for it. Whereas, a lot of people have nostalgia for shows like, I don't know, Word World. You remember Word World?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Or, shows like that people had a generally good opinion of. Or when you listen to a song that you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard this since 2007. And you think to yourself, I can never get the feeling of listening to that again back. But that one moment you see it again, it almost feels like you're 7 years old once more. But you can't fabricate those moments because they're here and then they're gone. But they're also completely authentic because they're moments that make you feel a genuine emotion. And because it's such a genuine emotion you feel inside, it's hard to recreate.
That's really good. I never thought of it that way, of connecting it to fast-tracked information and instant gratification, but we can't do that with our memories. Our bodies must be frustrated that we can't do that because we're so used to dopamine hits and getting information whenever we want it, but we're actually losing the memories that we have, and we might want to feel them exactly the same, but our bodies must be really frustrated that we can't do that.
It's almost kind of like capturing the magic of something. There's a ripping off and then there's influence,
Yeah.
Like certain types of music, you might say this is very influential of the 60s and 70s R&B, like Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak with Silk Sonic, A lot of people would say that they're a good version of bringing an older sound of music back because it sounds really good. I'm not going to say any bad ones because I don't want to stir any pots, but there's some out there who would say that certain types of music is bad because it gives a tacky version and a ripped off version of good music from before. And the reason why one might be better is because the worst one might be you're just trying to sound like this person. You're just doing tacky production just to sound like your voice is from the 50s. Or you're doing this, but there's such a raw heart, and you can tell you really love that sound. And it's something that you don't want to steal, but you want to capture that essence.
Right.
That's why that type of nostalgia can either feel good or bad, you know?
So I mentioned that for me, Christmas has become sort of sad, and I don't want it to continue feeling that way, but I guess we can talk about kind of what we do or what we plan to do this holiday season, and even as we, progress into different seasons of life, because now we have a bunch of friends that are getting married. Guys, I have 3 weddings lined up this year, but I'm thinking, like, how are they handling situations? Because now their lives are changing, and they're going to have to be handling holidays differently. And what's that going to be like for us when we start a life and handle holidays differently?
Yeah.
There'll be this greater shift, I'm sure. What do you think? Do you think that's preventable? And is it normal that it hurts so much? Do you think everyone feels that?
Yeah. I think Christmas, your parents really tried the most to make it about the children. Because at the end of the day, getting gifts, watching fun Christmas movies, baking, kids love that stuff. And especially when you're a parent, you really want your kids to love it. So I would say the moments where you capture that is when you are a kid and when you have children. That's what most people say who have had kids. That Christmas becomes magical again when you have your own children to make it magical for. But I think when you're in these in-between periods where you've either haven't had kids yet, or you've had kids but now they're adults, I think something that you can do, something like be sure to remember the people in your life. Because you might say, oh, Christmas, I used to get toys, but what do you get now on Christmas? Do you get parties with your friends? Do you get together with your friends? Do you get to go to a cool church service? Do you get to meet cool new people? Do you get to cook? Do you get to go on nice dates? Do you get to see people you haven't seen in a long time and talk about the world? Do you get those authentic moments that you could never get through a hackneyed lens? I think that's the type of stuff that keeps you going as an adult. Because when you're an adult, everything can seem so mundane, so plastic. But when you start to remember that there is so much more to Christmas than the toys, than your 37th rewatch of Elf, than the super nice Christmas cards, and Christmas cards are nice. I do like Christmas cards. But I think there's something more to be said. For one, Christmas is about one person. That's the truth at the end of the day. Christmas is about one person, a gracious creator. That one, because that one it's about, it gets to be about everyone as well. That one creator who created us, created this holiday, created that love for a family to celebrate on that day and on holidays alike. So I think really just understand that Christmas is more than just, this might sound corny, but Christmas is more than just candy canes, stockings, and, Home Alone. It's about the memories you choose to make. If you choose to just go through the motions, then every Christmas is going to just feel like, the same walk to work, the same food you eat every morning before you go into work, the same conversations you have with your coworkers. Whereas if you treat Christmas like this only happens once a year, not to say that you can't have depression or seasonal depression or bouts where you really just feel disconnected with the seasons, but really ask yourself, what do the seasons actually mean? What does Christmas really mean to you? Why did I feel those things at that age that I was?
Yeah, the meaning just shifts as you get older. Like you said, it becomes less about material things. And even this upcoming generation may never know that feeling of Christmas being about toys and about presents that you rip open and put in your room and play with, as opposed to technology. But now, as I've gotten older, I can appreciate, obviously the true meaning of Christmas as we celebrate it, and understanding the weight of the grace that Jesus freely gives. As you get older, that starts to feel more prevalent. And that's something that obviously we should be thinking about every day, but it becomes easier when you're older to celebrate it in that way. Yeah. So I'm thankful for that. And like you said, I'm thankful for just the ability to be with family, and even those memories that come back, even when they're sad, it's like they're there, and it's just a time for reflection, and that reflection is proof of like a wonderful upbringing. And even if it wasn't all wonderful, the memories are proof of that, and I think we should be grateful for them, and we should hold on to what we can. Yeah, I'm just rambling at this point. I think you said a lot of great things, and I look forward to Christmas this year, even though I know it gets sad, especially afterwards. It definitely gets sad. But let's just be there for each other, okay? Let's get coffee with people in person. I appreciate everyone's Christmas texts, and definitely text your family and tell them you love them, but also ask people to get together in person and, you know, touch and hug and talk and all the things. I think that's getting lost.
Please hug each other, talk to each other.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And light a fireplace, because what else would you do?
Yes.
Well, hopefully we will be more consistent with you all from here on out. It's just been a very, very busy season of life. If you've noticed, if you're listening to this on YouTube or watching on YouTube, we actually started recording videos outside of the studio. We did our first one a couple weeks ago. We were actually out in the woods. We just set up a camera and we started talking, and it felt very authentic, and it was just like little snippets of our daily life and conversations that we have. So we're definitely looking forward to doing more of those, as well as recording episodes. We hope that you get to know us better and can bring your inner dialogue to life as an introvert. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Also, we didn't even talk about it.
Also, we're going to start promoting this. The Introvert City podcast is hosting its very first live podcast event that will be live streamed. So for those who can't make it in person, who don't live in the Lancaster area, we're going to be putting more information out. But we're going to be hosting a panel of guests who I won't give too much away. Each week I'm going to give a little bit more information away, but this week all I'll say is that we're having 4 guests come in to speak on a topic that we have chosen, and we're going to have a live audience with a live Q&A. We're going to be live streaming the whole thing. There's going to be opportunity for networking. We're going to talk about our journey as podcasters. It's just going to be a lot of fun, and it's, I think, going to be really special for us in reflection. So that is coming up on February 21st. Mark your calendars if you want, and you'll be seeing some promotion come out for that. So thank you all for always being supportive, and it's crazy that we even have the resources and the opportunity to host something like this.
No, yeah, for sure. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. The election happened.
It did, which is crazy because I think we haven't recorded until, like, the last time we recorded was before the election.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, the election did happen.
It happened.
The election did, in fact, happen. You can find me at its_DANEYL. You can find us at the_introvert_city on Instagram. You can find Carina at
Carina_V04.
Yeah, you can follow us.
Follow us TikTok, Instagram. Are you okay?
My eyes are burning.
We gotta go because of
Please
Seth's eyes.
subscribe. And hit the bell, comment.
Bye, homebodies.
Bye, homebodies.